What's the role of internal links in answer engine optimization? Why internal links matter more as a map than as a ranking signal? Answer engines do not need another page. They need a route through your site, a sense of which pages explain each other, and a way to tell which ones sit closest to the thing you actually sell. Internal links provide that route in plain sight, which is why they matter more than most teams realize. The old habit was to treat links as a crawl aid and leave it there. That view is too small now. In e-commerce, links are the structure that tells a machine whether your store is a coherent system or a pile of pages that happen to share a header. That distinction matters because shoppers do not think in isolated URLs. They move from a collection to a guide, then to the product itself, and then to delivery or returns, and they expect the site to keep up. A good link pattern makes that movement feel obvious. A bad one makes the store feel rushed, which is often what happened. For answer systems, the link pattern signals meaning. It shows which pages belong together, which support a decision, and which deserve to be read as part of the same topic. That gives the system a clearer map before it even gets to the pros. What answer engines need from a site that search engines did not need as much? Classic search could often stop at matching a query to a page. Answer systems have to go further, because they need to choose a page, extract the right passage, and trust that the passage sits in the right context. That extra step makes site structure far more important than it used to be. Google's guidance on internal links makes the point plainly. Links help Google find pages and understand how pages relate to each other. That is the official version of what e-commerce teams have always felt in practice, which is that a store with clear pathways is easier to read, easier to crawl, and easier to quote. A page about women's waterproof jackets means something different when it sits beside a fit guide. A care page and a side-by-side comparison, the content itself may be unchanged, but the surrounding structure tells the system what kind of source it is dealing with. That context is what answer engines use when they decide whether a page is fit to summarize. Ranking and being quoted are related jobs, but they are not the same. Ranking gets a page into the results. Being quoted means the system trusts the page enough to lift a sentence or two and present it as part of the answer. Internal links help with both because they set subject boundaries before the machine starts reading in detail. Machines read sites with practical skimmability. Short sections and descriptive anchors make the structure easier to parse. If your page says, "See our guide to narrow fit" instead of "read more," you have already done some of the work. How internal links show what your site thinks is related. Every internal link is an editorial decision about meaning and priority. When you keep linking the same types of pages to each other, you tell both humans and machines that those pages belong in the same conversation. The signal gets stronger each time the pattern repeats in a sensible way. Anchor text does a lot of the heavy lifting. "See our size guide for running shorts" says far more than "learn more," because the first version names the topic and the destination in one go. Since a link in the main body carries a different message from one tucked into a footer or a related products block, the destination page type also changes the meaning. A product page linking to a size guide tells the system that sizing is part of the buying decision for that item. A buying guide linking to the collection tells it that the collection is the next step for a shopper comparing options. Both links are useful, but they serve different purposes. Here is the e-commerce reality. A guide to leather boots can link to a care article in one section and to a collection in another if the reasons are clear. If the same guide links to a product in one paragraph and a category in the next, without visible logic, the signal gets muddy. Mixed patterns make it harder for retrieval systems to identify the central source for the topic. That is why internal linking is more than housekeeping. It shows what your site thinks is related. And that opinion shapes how answer engines read the store. When the pattern is deliberate, the whole site feels easier to trust. The link patterns that help retrieval systems make sense of e-commerce pages. Internal links work best when they follow the way shoppers actually buy. A category page should point into its subcategories. A guide should send readers to the relevant collection. And a product page should connect back to buying advice when a decision needs more context. This gives answer systems a clearer map of related content. The same logic applies in reverse. A guide to comparing running shoes should link to the collection for neutral shoes, while a waterproof boots product page should point to a care guide or sizing advice page. Policy pages also matter, especially returns and delivery information, because they often settle the last objection before checkout. Descriptive anchor text does most of the heavy lifting. See, women's trail running shoes tells a system far more than click here. And the surrounding sentence gives the link a job to do. That nearby context helps retrieval systems see why the destination matters. Instead of treating it as just another URL in the crawl, orphaned pages cause trouble fast. A page can have strong copy and still look disconnected if nothing meaningful points to it. Weak internal linking is often the reason a useful page stays invisible to both users and crawlers, which is a tidy way to waste good work. Dead-end pages create the same problem from the other side. If a shopper lands on a size guide, a comparison article, or a seasonal collection and cannot move naturally to the next step, the site has wasted a useful entry point. A small store can fix that with a few deliberate links. For example, a hiking boot collection linking from the main outdoor footwear hub, a winter boot buying guide, and a returns page from the boot product templates. Those links tell the system which collection is the main home for the product family. And they tell shoppers the same thing. What makes content skimmable for answer engines? Skimmable content helps answer systems extract meaning quickly. Clear headings and short paragraphs make the structure easier to read, while the words around each link explain how one page supports another. Dense blocks of text force the system to do extra work and give shoppers more reason to stop reading halfway through. Nielsen-Norman Group's research on web reading behavior has long shown that users scan pages in an F-shaped pattern. Nielsen-Norman Group found that people pay most attention to the top of a page and the first words in each line. So your headings and anchor text need to carry real meaning. If those cues are vague, the page becomes harder to read and harder to use. Internal links help by splitting a dense page into smaller jobs. A buying guide can handle the broad explanation, then point to a fit chart, a materials page, or a collection page for the shopping step. This keeps each section focused and stops one article from trying to answer every question at once. For lean e-commerce teams, this matters because easy-to-scan pages are easier to maintain. Descriptive subheads save editing time, and links placed where they add context reduce the need to rewrite whole sections later. The structure and the prose should agree, otherwise the site sends mixed signals about what belongs where. How to build internal links for a small e-commerce site without creating clutter. Start with the pages that answer buying questions, then connect them to the pages that close the sale. A size guide, comparison article, and care page should support the collection and product pages that need trust, selection, help, or reassurance. That gives every link a clear purpose instead of turning the site into a web of guesswork. A simple audit works well for small teams. Identify the top category pages, the strongest guides, and the pages already earning impressions, then map where each one should point. If a collection page attracts search demand for vegan trainers, it should link to the fitting guide, the main collection hub, and the product page for the best-selling option. Repeatable rules keep the structure tidy. For example, every guide can link up to its parent collection. Every collection can link down to one relevant guide. And every product template can point to the most useful support page for that item type. That approach is faster than adding links whenever a page feels thin, and it keeps the site from growing into a mess of one-off decisions. Overlinking causes its own damage. When every page points everywhere, the site stops signaling priority, and the answer systems get less help understanding which pages matter most. A small e-commerce site with a jacket category, a waterproofing guide, and 3 product pages can improve fast with a few deliberate links between those sections. Without adding extras that blur the picture, the main idea is simple. Build links around the buying journey. Keep the wording specific and only add connections that help a shopper move forward. That keeps the site readable for people and far easier for answer systems to map. What to measure when you change your internal links. Once you change internal links, start with signals that show whether search engines and shoppers can reach the right pages more cleanly. Crawl discovery is the first one to watch. Because Search Console treats discovered URLs and indexing paths as practical signs of how Google finds content. And log file analysis works the same way from the server side. If a new collection page or buying guide starts getting crawled sooner, the structure is doing its job. Raw traffic usually lags behind structural changes. A clearer link path often shows up first in indexing, then in query mix, then in revenue, if the change actually helps shoppers move through the catalog. That delay matters on e-commerce sites, where a better path from a category page to a product detail page can take weeks to show. Its full effect in sales data. Search Console gives you the cleanest view of page relationships. Look at which pages begin earning impressions for adjacent topics, because that often means Google is reading the site with better context. A running shoe page that starts appearing for trail running shoes for wide feet after you add links from a trail collection and a width guide is a useful signal. Even before clicks rise, click paths matter too. If shoppers keep moving from a product page to a size guide, then to returns, then back to checkout, the links are helping them answer the questions that block purchase. When they bounce between unrelated pages or hit dead ends, the site structure is still unclear. That behavior is easy to miss if you only watch top-line sessions. AI search behavior is harder to see directly, so you have to infer it from the surrounding pattern. Watch query coverage and page selection, and note which URLs get cited or summarized for a topic cluster. If your waterproof boot page starts surfacing for care instructions or fit questions, the system is treating those pages as part of the same answer set. This is where the thesis of the whole piece comes back into focus. The best internal link structure makes the site easier to interpret before it makes it easier to rank. On a Shopify store. To learn more, visit heysprite.com today.